Hello and welcome to this episode of the Mixtape podcast. This is where we take a deep dive into the inspirations and influences of my guest as I ask them to select 6 tracks for their imaginary mixtape. Track 1 is an attention grabber. Track 2 is a song they sing in the car or the shower. Track 3 is a cover version. For track 4, I'll ask them to pick a song they wish they could have played to their 18-year-old selves. Track 5 is a song they would use to woo someone. Track 6 is a track that my guest feels doesn't get the attention or recognition that it deserves. If you'd like to support the creation of this podcast, it's patreon.com/mixtape podcast, or you can check out the link in the description below. You can join for free or subscribe for as little as $2 a month. There's lots of other Patreon-only content on there, including the opportunity to ask guests a question and to have a personalised mixtape playlist curated by yours truly. There's lots of other ways you can support me, a like or a follow on social media. Again, there's links in the description for that. Or if you are listening on Spotify, you can smash the follow icon or you can rate the podcast. All of these little things go a long way towards growing the platform, and I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to this mixtape for KCR 102.5 FM and the mixtapepodcast.com. Joining me today, what a pleasure to welcome Andrew Roachford. How are you, mate?
I'm great, Mark. How you doing?
Very well, thanks. Very well, thanks. I really appreciate you making the time and coming on the show. So you're coming to Australia May. I'll just go through the tour dates really quickly. 16th of May, 30 Social here in Perth. 17th, the Gov in Adelaide. 23rd, the 170 Russell in Melbourne. 24th, Manning Bar in Sydney. 25th, the Triffid in Brisbane. It's metropolistouring.com for tickets for those. How long since you were in Australia, mate? It must have been a while, is it?
Yeah, it's been about 20 years. Been about 20 years. Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking, where does the time go? I've always been wanting to get back, and it's just taken as long as it's taken, but finally we're here.
You'll notice some changes, I'm sure. I've been living in Perth. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm not Australian. I've been living in Perth since 2010, and the changes that I've seen in just infrastructure and landscape stuff have been phenomenal just in that time. So I'm sure you'll see some huge changes when you get here. So you're touring, it's the Then and Now Greatest Hits tour. And so Then and Now, it was like you've done a sort of hybrid thing where there's a few new tracks. You've re-recorded some of your greatest hits as well. So I'll be honest, mate, I couldn't believe how good they sounded, like how much better they sounded. Like, and I'm not taking anything away from the original recordings, but just really subtly, like a little bit fresher, newer, a little bit more punch. Like, for example, the guitar intro to Cuddly Toy, it's just a little bit crunchier. So what you were trying to achieve with these re-recordings, how did you approach those?
Some of these songs are like 30 years old, so I've had time to practice them now. I think people don't realize, some people don't realize that artists grow and evolve, and even vocally you evolve if you're always doing it. And so actually, when I listen to some of the older recordings that I did 30 odd years ago, I go, wow, it's looking at a snapshot of you when you were a kid, and you see how far you've come. And I love all those original versions of the songs I did then. However, I do feel like a different animal at this point in time. And then remember that all those songs are subject to mix, because when I did my first album, they were mixed in a very 80s type style. It was like 88. And actually, if you took the masters and mixed them now, they would sound completely different. The mix has so much to do with how they are perceived, how the songs are perceived. And because a band playing is a band playing, that won't change. But yeah, I really enjoyed revisiting some of these songs, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They sound amazing. And we're playing a few of them at the end of this interview. For listeners, you'll get to experience the updated recordings. Were there any original band members on these re-recordings, or are they all new band members that you were in the studio with recording those tracks?
Good question. They're all new band members. My original band back in the day, everyone was doing their own thing at the moment, different projects and stuff. And I think over time, you just move on. And I've been so lucky to work with so many great musicians. Of course, my original band, Eric Taylor, Chris Taylor, Howie Gondry, were just phenomenal and are phenomenal. The guitarist went on to work for years with Amy Winehouse, and a bass player done many projects, and everyone's doing their own thing. But over the years, my band has changed members here and there. But it's good because they bring different things to the music, and it keeps me on my toes and it keeps it fresh.
Just talking about tour dates as well, mate. I noticed you got a week off there. You're giving yourself a bit of a break, which is nice work. I love to see that. What do you like to? You got some sightseeing to do? You're going to get around a little bit and see some of the country, or what are you up to in that week?
It's the only thing about these tours is they are so well windy that you don't really get a lot of time to do anything else but to do the gigs, do the sound check, and then in between that, you're probably knackered because there's still a bit of jet lag. And so my hope is to see as much as I can see. But I remember the last time I was in Perth all those years ago, I think we had half a day just to see Perth. And I remember just walking down to the beach, because I remember it had great beaches, and then back to the hotel, and kind of time was gone. So, I may have to, after the tour, if I can stay a little longer, I'd like to, but I have stuff to do back in England. If not, I want to come back to Australia and New Zealand and spend a bit of time just really not just gigging, but actually checking that out.
Talking about band members and evolving as well, I was chatting to a friend of mine who I think you might remember. Do you remember doing a podcast called Off the Beaten Track? Do you remember doing that?
Yep.
So Stu and I have been friends for 40 plus years.
Is he like an Essex boy? Where's he from?
We were chatting the other night and I told him you were coming on, and he mentioned Mike and the Mechanics. And I had no idea that you were fronting Mike and the Mechanics now. Like, how did that come around? And, what do you get out of that as opposed to your solo stuff? How's it different for you?
I see you wearing a Not Dead Yet t-shirt, and I think that was the name of Phil Collins' last tour. It was actually.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really weird. Where was I? I was in Germany, and someone just said, "Oh yeah, you'd be great for Mike and Mechanics." And Mike is starting to write. He's getting new ideas. Could I put your name forward? And I was just like, what? Oh yeah, because he really loves what you do, blah, blah, blah. Next thing I knew, I get a phone call. I'm in my car. Can you come down to meet him at his place? Came down to meet him, thinking it's just going to be a little chat. And he had his acoustic guitar in the corner, starts playing his ideas, and I start singing along. And he's, where are you getting those melodies from? I'm like, we're jamming on. We have just come up with them. He was completely sold. And I thought, okay, so we're going to make an album together. And I was actually still thinking, who's going to sing these songs? And he was like, be a pillar. And then we thought, okay, we're doing an album together. And now, 12 years down, we've done a few albums. And we've done umpteen tours. We've toured America. We've toured Europe and the UK many times. We're going back out on tour next year. We're going to South Africa again. And I'm already back in the studio with him. I've been back in the studio last week. So there's more stuff coming. So it's weird. It's like, it just clicked.
Yeah, fantastic. Love that. See, I haven't even heard. I wasn't even aware that you were in that band. So I need to go and check out some Roachford / Mike and Mechanics collaborations now. I'll definitely get one of those on the show a little bit later on as well.
Let Me Fly album. There's some stonking tracks on that.
Definitely get around that, mate. 100%. Thanks for that. Okay, talking about musical recommendations, let's drop into your mixtape track choices now, mate. Whenever I get people on, I like to ask them to make up an imaginary mixtape or a playlist or something like that. We'll kick it off with track one, like I always do with the radio show. I always go in with an attention grabber to kick the show off after the 6 o'clock news. So what would be your track one attention grabber on your mixtape, mate?
Okay, attention grabber. That would have to be, because I like a lot of the old stuff. It would have to be I Love Sly and the Family Stone. It would have to be Take You Higher.
Great choice. Great choice.
Yeah.
There's a vinyl reissue company called Vinyl We Please, and I got that on some sort of bizarre red and white pinwheel vinyl that came through that album a few years ago. Yeah, absolutely love that. Brilliant choice. Musically, what sort of makes that an attention grabber for you, Andrew?
I think because it's, you know what I like about it? So wild. It's so wild. The way he used to record. I wish I was in the Sly and the Family Stone recording session because it sounds so chaotic. But yet, when we really listen to it, everything is quite cleverly done. But in a weird way, like they all got drunk or something. Just supercharged. When I put it on, because I play stuff in the dressing room, in my dressing room before every gig I have a little 30-minute DJing set. And when I worked with the mechanics, they were a bit freaked out at the beginning because it was like James Brown coming out. And it just it just wakes me up. It wakes me up before a gig, and I call that an attention grabber.
Yeah, no, fantastic choice, mate. Brilliant. What I do on the radio show, Andrew, I'll be dropping the tracks in between as we're talking about them. If anyone's listening on the podcast or the YouTube channel, there will be a link in the description to Andrew's song choices on a Spotify playlist, a few of Andrew's new tracks, some Mike and the Mechanics tracks as well. There'll also be a link to Metropolis touring tickets and roachford.co.uk where you can catch up and connect with Andrew as well. Track 2 of your mixtape, Andrew, is what's the song that you sing when you're in the car or the shower, mate?
I think I was singing along to Bob Marley, One Love.
Mm-hmm.
Not only am I singing the lyric, but I do all the drum bits as well. Air drumming, not while I'm steering, but at traffic lights. It's funny because when I saw that question, there was 2 songs that came to mind. When I'm in the shower, it's always A Change Is Gonna Come, Sam Cooke, because I like to croon in the shower because of the beautiful reverb. You always get in bathrooms because of the tiles. But, that Bob Marley he doesn't sing along to that song.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic track. I've had the absolute pleasure of chatting to Al Anderson, who was one of the Wailers for some of the later albums. And some of the stories he told on the interview were incredible. Yeah, amazing. Yes. I think that's three interviews in a row now. Bob Marley's made an appearance. So, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Never need an excuse to play any Bob Marley. All right, track 3, Andrew. What's your favourite cover version, mate?
I quite like the Fugees' Killing Me Softly.
Oh, good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there'd be a lot of younger people that would have never known it was a cover. That's always a good cover. Again, when I saw this question, 2 came to mind because one of my all-time favorite songs is Summer Breeze by the Isley Brothers, and no one knows that's not their song.
Yeah.
No one knows it's not their song. It's actually a cover. That's when you know you've covered a song correctly. It was a tough one because, again, I get by with it of my friend Joe Cocker. No one knows. It's the Beatles, but it's the way he does.
That one. That's been picked about 5 times before that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Have anyone picked Que Sera by Sly and the Family Stone?
No, they haven't. No, that's never come up.
There's Que Sera, Sly and the Family Stone. It is the best cover ever. And at the time, he was friends with Doris Day's. Can you believe that? Sly Stone. I don't know if he was dating, but they were close. Sly and the Family Stone. Just listen to it. It's the best cover ever.
I think that might, just for interest, just pique my interest, that. So I think that's going to be the one. That's going to want to look at. All right, Andrew, what's a track that you wish you could have played to your 18-year-old self?
Okay, that was a tough one too, because I think I was quite a worldly 18-year-old. There wasn't a lot of teenage angst in, but when I had moments of doubt. If I'd have thought about it, move on up, Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get on with it. That's what it says to me now. Get on with it.
What sort of stuff were you listening to when you were that age, Andrew, when you were a teenager?
When I was a teenager, I'm from London. I'm a Londoner. And I went to school in South London. And my school was typical comprehensive school where, in South London, there was a lot of kids who were descendants of Caribbean like myself. So there's a lot of reggae music being played in the school. So that was a part of my upbringing, was the 70s reggae music. Also, unusually, I came from a musical family, so I was listening to a lot of older music as well. A lot of Stax, Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, Al Green, and that kind of stuff. And then the third level, growing up in London, was Radio 1. So I was listening to the pop music of the time, whether it was Elton John, whatever was playing on the radio at that time, Queen, and that stuff that really melodically got me. And then one day, I found my uncle's, on his record collection, found a Jimi Hendrix Smash Hits record. And I didn't know my uncle was a Jimi Hendrix fan because he was a jazz player. And that really changed my life because it was just like when I heard Hey Joe, I was like, what's this? And then do that, I discovered the blues. So I'm a bit of a mad mix of stuff. But then I realized the blues is the root of what fuels me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Track 5, Andrew, is if you were putting your mixtape together for a romantic interest and you were trying to woo someone with a track, what track would you use for that?
No brainer. Let's Stay Together, Al Green.
Yes. Love that.
Yes.
Every time that's been picked, mate. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. It's one of my shower favourites. I love getting into that in the shower.
I wouldn't trust a girl if I was on a date and I played that and she didn't react to it. It's over because you just got nothing There's no point. We've got nothing in common.
There's that amazing scene in, do you know the movie High Fidelity with Jack Black and John Cusack?
I know the book.
He says when he's talking about in relationships with people, he says, it's what you like, not what you are like. That's what matters. Yeah, if you're with someone and they don't appreciate, this is something that's crazy was that, just forget about it, mate. There's nothing.
Yeah. Let's not waste our time here. Check, please.
All right, just to round out your mixtape, Andrew, what's a track you feel is like a little bit underappreciated, doesn't get the sort of recognition that it deserves, mate?
That's a good question. That one I found difficult because obviously if I've heard about it, it's got some recognition. Another artist called Leon Bridges. He had his first album, I thought was quite amazing. He had a song called Beyond, which was a single. He did okay, he did well, but most people, they go, Leon who? And then it's mad. So that song Beyond, Leon Bridges and that whole album, his first album, is quite phenomenal.
That track that could have been a good track 5 as well, because that is, it's a real,
romantic.
It's an amazing track. I've played that loads on the show. That's one of my favourite Leon Bridges tracks. I was lucky enough to see him live a year or two ago in Perth, and it was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. I nearly lost my girlfriend to him that night. Like that was, it would have been game over, I think. It was, even I was like, fair play, he's a sexy man. Yeah, unreal. Such a great performer. Yeah, and it's a great one for being underappreciated because I agree. I think it should be massive. It should be huge. River as well, I think, is one of the most amazing tracks like I've ever heard.
River, go.
Love that. All right, mate. Just to round out the chat, to wrap it up, what future plans after the Australian tour and early 2025? What have you got going on, mate?
That's a very busy year for me. One of the busiest I've had for a long time because also doing the mechanics tours at that point. So we're doing South Africa and then we are going like across the UK, doing every town in the UK. And then after that, I'm doing some of my own dates, but then I'm also going out later in the year with Level 42 as a special guest, which is going to be great fun. And somewhere in there, I'm going to be try and fit in writing the mechanic stuff, and I'm also writing some new Roachford material. So I don't know when I'll have a minute to myself. No holidays.
My brother's a bass player, and he's the world's biggest Mark King fan. So 100%, he'll be at least one or two of those shows on that tour. Andrew, thanks so much for coming on the show and making the time, mate. Safe travels down under. Can't wait to see you at Frio Social next year. MetropolisTouring.com for tickets for those shows. Yeah, and I'll see you when you get here. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, say hi to Stuart for me.
Yeah, we'll do, mate. Yeah, take it easy. See you later.
Thank you so much for listening to the Mixtape podcast. All the links that you will need are in the description below. Link to my Patreon, my guest website and social media, my social media, and the link to the Mixtape Tracks playlist as chosen by today's guest. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time.